All right, hey guys, I just want to go over this. I know that this stressed you guys out taking this test, but let's go over the answers. A babysitter earns $8 an hour, so I'm going to stop you right there. We can already at this point eliminate a couple of things. I know if she's doing $8 per hour, then X has to be my number of hours. So it has to be A or B, and you can cancel out C or D. You can eliminate C or D at this point. So you've already upped your odds of even guessing at just 50% by reading the first like 5 words of this sentence, okay? Then they're throwing in a lot of stuff at you. You don't need to know that it matters about 2 children, okay? But the additional $3 an hour that she gets when both kids go to bed on time, right? 8's going to be our slope, and then that extra $3 an hour that she's going to get means the only thing we have to figure out different here is which one's the slope and which one's the y-intercept. So I know that 8 has to be the slope because it's per every hour. We don't know how many hours. So that's going to be A, right? And then plus 3 is going to be our y-intercept. So my answer for this one is going to be A, right? All right, question number 2. All right, you guys, I would say something like number 2 is going to be one of the harder ones, and I hope you kind of read through this and went to the next one and would come back and look at this one. But if xy is a solution to the equation above, which means if I put an x, I get y out, what is the ratio of x over y? In this particular case, you don't really need to understand what the first part of this sentence means, but what we want to do is we want to make the equation look like x over y, okay? Or at least part of the equation look like. So I would just go with your gut and start doing things. My gut was, let's distribute this 3. So then I get 3x plus 3y equals y. Let's combine our like terms. Well, I have 2 terms that have y in them. So if I subtract 3 y's from each side, I can combine my y's. So then I get 3x is equal to negative 2y. 1y minus 3y, negative 2y. All right, now if I divide both sides by x, I will get, oh wait, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Divide both sides by y, I will get x over y, right? I don't know why my pen's not working here. I wanted to make that a star. I will get x over y. So if I divide both sides by y, I'll get x over y. And if I divide both sides by 3, I'll be able to cancel out that 3. Okay, so the 3's cancel. I have x over y on this side is equal to my y's cancel over here, negative 2/3. Okay, but this is kind of a tricky one, so don't beat yourself up if you didn't get it. But remember what I said. We want to make the equation look like what it's asking for. So when I was able to do that, I was able to get the answer. Okay, question 3. Which ordered pair satisfies the systems of equations above? Okay, this is the non-calculator part, but these are a systems of equations. And it's set up to use elimination, which is what I'm going to do. But before I do that, I'm going to get rid of all of the fractions because fractions are confusing. And if we don't have to deal with them, let's not do it. So up on the numerator, we have denominators of 2, or the first equation, 2 and 4, right? And on the second equation, we have denominators of 8. So 2 and 4 can both go into 4. So I'm going to multiply the whole equation by 4. When I do that, it cancels out all of the fractions. So just think of it. What is 1/2? Let's distribute. We're just going to distribute. This is what I'm doing right now, but you have to do it for the whole equation. So just think about it like this. What is 1/2 of 4? Well, that's 2x. So 4 times 1/2 x is 2x. Minus 1/4 of 4 is just 1. So minus 1y is equal to 4 times 10 is 40. And then for for the second equation, they both have a denominator of 8, so if I multiply by 8, it will literally just cancel those out, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to distribute this 8 through the whole thing. So 1/8 of 8 is just 1, right? 8 times 1/8 is just 1. So we have 1x minus 1y is equal to, and then 8 times 19, you're going to have to do some math there. So 19 times 8, 8 times 9 is 72, carry your 7, 8 and 7, 152. Okay? Now to cancel these out, I need to make one of them the opposite. And look, the y's are exactly the same, except they're both negative. So to make this top one I'll make the bottom one a positive 1, I'm going to multiply just by negative 1. So if I multiply by negative 1 and I distribute it, all that does is it makes every number the opposite. So negative 1 times y is negative 1y. Oops, that's an x. How long have you been looking at that yelling at me for having that be a y when it should be an x? Hope not too long. So if I multiply the second one by a negative, all that does, okay, is change each thing. So instead of a positive 1, it's going to be a negative 1. Instead of a negative 1, it's going to be a positive 1. And instead of a positive 152, it's going to be a negative. Now I just need to combine these or add them together. So 2x plus negative 1x, or just 2x minus 1 is just x. And then my y's cancel, is equal to, and then 40 minus 152 is going to be, I believe, negative 112. But we can do it 40 minus 152. I'm just going to do it like this. This seems like a more complicated one too, you guys. I'm going to subtract the 40 from 152, but I know it's going to be a negative answer because 152 is larger. Okay, so 2, 1, 1. So it's going to be negative 112. You guys, but I can stop there with one answer because there's only one answer that has x equal to negative 112. The other thing you can do, but it might even be harder, is to put in the answer into the actual equation. What that looks like would be if I took, in this case it would have been quick maybe because the answer was A, but remember this is x, this is y, my input, my output. Instead of 1/2 times x, I would have 1/2 times negative 112 minus, instead of 1/4 times y, I'm going to have 1/4 times negative 264. And if I do this math and my answer is 10, that could possibly be a solution. So you would have to say 1/2 of 112 would be 56, but it's negative, right? And I just did, I know half of 100 is 50 and half of 12 is 6. And here, if I do 1/4 of this, it's going to be a positive because it's minus a negative. And then 4 can go into 66. And negative 6 plus 66 is 10. Okay? So I know that that could possibly be an answer there. All right, moving on. Question 4. Look, triangles are favorite. If triangle ABC above is isosceles with AB equal to CA, right, which means this side is equal to this side. Cool. And BC equals 48, so this whole, let's see, let's make that yellow. BC is 48, so that means from here to here is 48. Okay, and the ratio of DE to DF is 5 to 7, so DE could be 5, DF could be 7. What is the length of DC right here? Okay, since they're both right triangles, it doesn't tell you that, but we can see that. They're going to be similar. Right triangles are similar, as long as they have another angle that's the same. And because this is an isosceles triangle, that means this angle and this angle are the same. So we have a 90-degree angle and we have the other angle that's the same, which means the third angle is the same, which means they are similar, which means I should be able to figure out DC, because if I know that, so here's the thing, I have the entire denominator added together, which is 48. So I'm looking at DC is what part of 48, right, is equal to, and I know that 7, it's not going to be 7 over 5, but it's going to be 7 over 5 plus 7, 7 over 12, that total, because 48 are those two sides added together. So I need to add the other sides together, and I used 7 because it's part of the triangle that I'm looking for. Okay, so I know, and this is going to be easy, you're going to think this is so hard because I don't have a calculator, but look, I know that 12 can go into 48 evenly, and I know that that's 4 times. So 12 times 4 is 48. So I just need to do 7 times 4 is equal to, so that means I know that DC is 28. Okay. If DC is 28, and then that means that BD is 20. Okay. And you can tell that it's the same thing, because if I do this triangle, you could check yourself if you had time. 5 over 20 is the same as 1/4, and 7 over 28 is also the same as 1/4. All right. Question 5. And then I guess I'm going to have to finish this one. In a certain game, a player can solve easy or hard puzzles. A player earns 30 points for solving an easy puzzle, and 60 points for solving a hard puzzle. And they're going to earn 1,950 points altogether, right? There's a total of 50 puzzles, so all of my easy puzzles plus all of my hard puzzles is going to have a total of 50 puzzles. So we just need to solve. I'll solve by elimination, so I will multiply this bottom equation by, how about negative 30? Because that will give me negative 30e minus 30h equals negative 3 times 5 is 15, add 2 zeros. All right, and the reason I did that is because now I can solve by elimination. So I'm going to add these two equations together. So positive 60h, so this is going to be 30h is equal to, subtract here because this is a negative, so 0 minus 0, 0, 5 minus 0 is 5, 9 minus 5 is 4, 1 minus 1 is 0. So 30 H's is equal to 450, so to find out how many hard puzzles they are, which is what the answer I was looking for, I need to divide both sides by 30. Okay, so H equals, the zeros will cancel out on the end, and then 3 can go into 45 15 times. 3 can go to 4 once, remainder 1, and 3 can go into 15 5 times. So my answer is